Hey, everybody, and welcome to the David A. Bettis podcast. Today's guest, Veronica Neal, superstar and a badass in insurance, writing over 50,000 clients each year annually in insurance, as well as 3,500 tax clients in her first tax season ever. Now, she's going to drop some bombs, share with you how she's done it and what she's doing today and how she's grown, some of her core values, but more importantly, she's going to share her journey. And if this doesn't inspire you, I don't know what will. So please stay tuned, watch the video. If you like this stuff, subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. So welcome to the David A. Bettis podcast. Today I have a special guest. Her name is Veronica Neal, and she is a badass in a lot of ways. And so today we're gonna talk to her, get some of her story. And so Veronica, welcome.
Thank you. It's so nice to be on board.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to have you. So obviously you've been in the financial services space from the stories you've shared with me before, but I want the audience to hear how did this all begin for you? Because you're in several spaces. So kind of tell us your entrepreneurial journey. How did you get into entrepreneurialism?
Well, I don't like anybody telling me what to do, right? But I am a full-time student, and I think I will always be a student. But the journey for me started working for physicians. I was a front office uh, receptionist slash nurse assistant and trying to get through nursing school. And I had a lot of patients that would come in and I would have to schedule their surgeries and get insurance approvals. And a lot of the clients would either, they didn't understand any other benefits, they didn't understand what deductibles were. And I think, when I would refer them back to the insurance company, they were always coming back at a loss. Well, I was told I have an agent and I don't know who they are. And so for me, just kind of seeing people fall through um, through the cracks on healthcare and not understanding, I decided to get into the insurance world and just being of service and helping people navigate through that mystery, right? Of what is insurance? How do I get to see my doctor? How do I get a surgery? And how do I not go broke? And that's what started this journey 20 years ago.
20 years ago. Interesting. So let me just get this kind of right, so I make sure I understand it. You started working at a clinic. You were helping out. You were seeing patients come in, and they were always lost and confused, not really understanding what they were supposed to do or how it worked. And you saw a need in the marketplace, and so you decided to take a leap of faith and actually become an insurance agent. Is that what happened?
Yes.
Awesome. So,
Yes.
and you're saying 20 years ago?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, you look
Yes.
very young, so that must have been what, you were like 12 or I mean,
I said, "Oh, thank my parents for their genes." That's all I have to say.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you had 20 years of this. Now, you got your license and you started to offer what type of insurance first?
I started offering Medicare options, and then getting into the financial side, like securities. I was offering annuities and life insurance.
Awesome. So what made, well, not what made, I guess I already know what made you make that decision, but
Mhm.
you got your license, you started to offer these things. And, most people I'm an insurance agent as well. So I know
Mhm.
the process, but most people get into this to serve people, but it sounds like you wanted to do bigger things than just be an agent. So kind of tell us that journey. How has it gone since then?
So, I think I really started working really close with a lot of key influencers like doctors and financial planners, and I started networking, and so they just started referring me clients on some of the products that they did not offer, and so people just started coming to me for expertise and guidance, and so I just said instead of giving my knowledge, I'll start building a team, and that's really how I started. You know, kind of leaning towards like I'll build an agency and start building a team of people that care and that want to help and provide a solution for our community members, especially like our individual, our seniors or different people that were moving into the area that had no advocates for them.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you decided to build a team, which means you were leveraging your time, huh? And that was the
Yes.
goal. And I mean, building a team is one of the hardest things. And so, how long ago did you start building a team? Was it right away, or how many years did it take you before you made that decision?
It took me 2 years. It took me 2 years to do that, and it was a very small team, but we were really successful. And I think it's just, I think we were really blessed because of the relationships that we had, and we really kind of were drawn to each other because we had kind of the same value based. So we had our values, and we just kind of were the same thinking patterns, and our work ethic was the same. So we were able to really work together and leverage certain relationships in our community, and we kind of made a name for ourselves and became the community experts. Um, that's and it was really comfortable. And when one of us were not able to support a certain market, we would come in as a team just to make sure that we would be able to execute that goal for their account and so forth. Mhm.
That's pretty awesome. I think that in any business, obviously, you need to build a team, and that's this one especially because insurance is complex, and you can't just solve problems randomly. It's actually catered to everybody's needs. You have to learn a lot more about the client than just hey, tell me how often you go to the doctor. You kind of want to know who they go to and all those things. So that's pretty interesting to me to see that you scaled very quickly within 2 years. And over the last, I mean, 20 years, what else has been accomplished? How many people are on your team now?
Wow. We have 1,600 agents that are independent, and I also
Wow.
have 75 employees. So
Whoa, that's
we
a
service in 48 years, I mean, 48 states, and I don't know how many markets, but we're pretty spread out, but we have a really good team.
awesome. So 1,600 independent agents. You said 75? Is that what you said? 75 employees?
And yes.
Wow. So what insurance? I mean, has it been the same insurance line of insurance since you started? Focusing primarily on the healthcare industry?
Yes, mostly health insurance. We do individuals, in the marketplace on and off exchange. We do groups, mid to small, and Medicare, so retirees. But we do some life insurance. But I think the niche is really working in our community, and with our 1,600 agents. The main focus for them is to help them with business development and really try to build a brand, and also just focus in their community, because we all want to sell nationwide. But I think the biggest miss for people that want to start a business is that they don't realize that the cornerstone of their business is their own community. And hence that's why I call my company Keystone Advisors, is because the true growth potential is in your own backyard, and by being intertwined, and being part of your community. And so that's
That
really kind of what our you know foundation of education on how to build a business, and that's has worked extensively for our team, and also for in-house.
Wow, that was really well said because I think a lot of business owners today, if they're watching this, even if they're not in the industry, in the insurance industry, I think what they could take from that, because this is what I learned, and I've realized this more and more as I've grown in business, is that there's plenty of business to be had in the world, and you don't need to be all over the world to be successful. You can create deep networks right where you've been planted, and you can grow there. And I like that. You got to go in your backyard. If you can't dominate the backyard, what makes you think you can go to the world? It's fenced in, it's ready to rock. Like, you should be able to take advantage of that anytime. And I think those deep networks that we build today are key. I mean, it's so interesting how many people tell me in any business that I meet, well, it's real hard to find people to work with, and it's hard to find customers. And I'm like, how? I mean, what are you doing? You must not be asking for business, and you must be in your age in the insurance agency. We used to call them, or we still call them, secret agents, right? Nobody
Mhm.
knows they even exist. They're a secret because they don't get out. They don't go out anywhere. They don't connect with anybody. They don't network. I'm going to go to my office and wait for people to come see me. I'm sure you got
Mhm.
those type of agents.
Yeah, we do. I think, with when you're out and about, I think with when agents come in, they're like, "What is your success?" Or "What kind of lead are you going to give me?" And I said, I think um, first you have to ask yourself who in your family, who in your network knows what you do, like you just said. right? And we said start there, and trust me, you are not going to ask for leads. Once if people, the people that are similar to you and understand and trust you and respect you, they're going to want to buy from you. They're going to want to use your services. And then, it's just going to be a referral mode. And in the last 5 years, David, I will tell you that I have not had to buy any leads, and it's all
Heck
referral
yeah.
based.
Heck
So,
yeah. To go along with that, I remember when I was a real estate agent many years ago. It was kind of my first kind of venture on my own. And I remember going to a party, a get together with some family. And I saw one of my uncles at the time, and he says, "Hey man, how you doing?" And we were talking and whatever, and I said, "Hey, anyway, we're talking, and I said, what have you been up to?" He goes, "Well, I just bought a new house." And I said, "You bought a new house?" And he's like, "Yeah." I said, "How come you didn't call me? Like I could have helped you." And he said, "I didn't even know you were an agent." And I
you
was
were a
like,
secret agent, huh?
yeah. And I was like, that was one of my first wake up calls. I was a secret agent. That was one of my first wake up calls. It's like we all expect people to know what we are, who we are, and what we do. We just assume that people, oh yeah, they know what I do. I'm an insurance agent or I'm so and so. But nobody knows. Like nobody knows. And they don't know what you do, right? Like they know that you may be an insurance agent, but they don't know what kind of insurance agent, right? And so maybe they'll call you for an example and say, "Hey, I was trying to insure my house," and you're like, "Well, maybe I have a connection. Maybe we have a department for that, but that's just not what I focus on every day, But they'll think that if you don't tell them that. Wouldn't that be correct to say?
That is correct.
So you get into this business. You're dominating. You got 1,600 agents and 75 employees. What is the future plans for your business now moving forward? I mean, it sounds like you're still growing. What are you going to do next?
Well, we're always looking to be innovative and also retain our business because it's always harder to acquire a new client. And the last 2 years we're growing, but a big focus has also been on the retention side and being in healthcare, especially with marketplace on and off exchange. It kind of interchanges with tax services. So I expanded into the tax services, and this is to help our clients retain their tax credits so they don't have IRS issues. And so, and because we found that some of the clients were going to local and free local tax preparing services or nonprofits, and then they were coming back with issues where their policies would be canceled and a bunch of issues. And so we had to do a lot of reconcilement and
Clean up, clean up.
yeah, cleanup. And so that was a reason why we decided to expand out. And so for us is really truly being an advocate for our client, just to make sure that they have the best experience, the best health care, and that they have the most affordable health coverage with that is quality.
That
So
that's pretty interesting because that's actually the reason I got into the insurance industry was because of the
mhm,
reconciliation of the premium tax credit.
mhm,
I thought it was just hand in hand. And today, obviously, we're still in that business, but what I see the most is still the same thing you just mentioned. There's so many agents out there willing to enroll somebody in a policy to make a commission without verifying information, without really confirming income, which is a big variable. And it
mhm.
causes a lot of pain for many people, a lot of pain. And I hate to say it. There obviously in every industry, there's good people and there's bad people, and there's a lot of bad agents out there. And maybe they don't have bad intentions. Maybe they're just good people, but they're ignorant and they mess it up, right? And so it's that's a big initiative. So, how many customers? I know you came into the industry. This is your first year. How many customers did you guys service in the tax side?
3,500.
3,500 people. So you had
Mhm.
3,500 tax customers, and so actually it would be probably a better number to know. How many insurance customers do you guys have?
Internally, we have 50,000.
50,000 customers. Oh my gosh, that is huge. So you got
Mhm,
50,000 insurance customers, you got 3,500 tax customers. So you've definitely grown a business that's scalable here, especially since you have so many people that are now being cross-sold, right? And
right.
you're a perfect example, by the way, of somebody I would say is in a position to expand into different services. Many entrepreneurs get to the point where they feel like they need to add something to their business to make more money. but they haven't really maximized what they currently have, right? Like they
Mhm.
leave some more juice in the squeeze. They leave that on the table and they're like, let me go find another thing, another orange to squeeze. And the problem is you really need to figure out how to maximize this one thing. And it sounds like you've done that. So moving into this tax space, I mean, what are your ambitions here? How many customers do you anticipate serving over the next, let's say, year?
Well, I would like to grow by 30%. Year over year. I think that's a pretty reasonable, not too aggressive approach. But for on the insurance business, we are actually at a point that we're going to grow 100% this year. So
Hold on, hold on. How do you grow 100%? I want to know this. We got to take notes if you're watching because this is going to be interesting.
so again, by our retention efforts, we're getting referrals, and we have opportunities. I have a call center. The portion of the internal call center portion of the business, I do own a call center. So we do have 50 agents that are with us year round, and then we always scale up for the season. But we got some opportunities with healthcare systems that we will be processing their enrollments into healthcare. So individual, small
Whoa.
business, and Medicare.
So, are you talking about like a health system, like a hospital system?
Yes.
Awesome. By the way, I mean, that sounds like a big deal. So, how did you convince them to choose you? So everybody knows how does somebody do that?
I Basically word of mouth. I think I have a pretty good reputation with
Oh,
some of the health plans and some of the local healthcare systems. People see me out and about. I attend a lot of conferences. I attend a lot of networking events. And so when they see me out there, I also participate in and co-chair in some nonprofits. And when they see me out there, they realize, like, you know what, she's truly here and active. And the references and the people make good feedback on her contacts, her agency, her teams. And so that's how the opportunities are knocking on my door.
damn.
Yeah.
By the way, everybody who's watching this, you really have to hear what she just said. She's like, I made a network, and that network is putting me in big places. That's what she just said. And I know she's being modest about it, but that's exactly how you grow a business.
Hmm.
I think so many people get on a YouTube and want to be an influencer and want to be somebody famous, but they never produced anything. They don't have a deep network. They have no one to call upon. And I think you do it the opposite, like what you've done. And now it's the time to transition and to be the person of influence in the community, not in your
Hmm.
community, in the world, because now you have some authority and you have somebody that actually can validate it by
Hmm.
customers and dollars. That's freaking awesome. Do you
Yeah.
have any secrets, or maybe not, I guess I can't say secrets, but would you have any advice for people to scale? They want to scale to your level, even if it's in taxes or insurance, like some of the biggest things that you have taken away that you would have done 10 years ago, probably differently, that maybe could help some of our viewers?
I think writing a business plan, finding a mentor, and really hanging out with people that are you know like-minded. I think that is the key, and just really um, I used to do this every month, is just reassess my progress, and I would look back at my meetings, my notes, my outcomes, and what's working, what's not. And I also make my team do this, and that's how I find out, like, if I did not succeed to the level that I wanted, did I truly follow my plan? And then I look back and I was like, oh, I cut corners, or I just canceled, or I just didn't show up. And so I was like, it's just, you have to be um, dedicated and true to the commitment. If you made the commitment to yourself, then follow through, because you're only going to improve and you're only going to learn by falling and learning what you did wrong, and then just don't let it happen again. And
Yeah,
that's what I follow.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's really true. Do you have kind of like a set of I guess values that you follow in your company that you feel like have really set the tone and the culture right for you guys today?
Yes, we have 5 values that I think is truly the way that we actually make sure that everybody's aligned with the vision that I created and the mission, but it also with partners, people that want to work with us when they meet us, and they're like, "Why? What makes you different? What makes you a different FMO or upline than anybody else?" And I said, these core values. So we're customer centric. You have to be a team player, you have to have tenacity. You got to be in competition with yourself. And people are like, competition with others? I don't want to be competitive. I'm like, you got to compete with yourself because you're your worst enemy, right? Or
Yeah,
so I always kind of press on tenacity, integrity, and having compassion. So for us, it's just like doing the right thing for the right reason. Um, Everything doesn't feel like work after that.
that's true. Your last one, compassion, is huge, especially when you're dealing with healthcare. If
Hmm.
that's your primary business, I mean, it sounds like it. In healthcare, you got to have a lot of compassion. I'm sure. When I remember our first year selling ACA products, which was I think 2014 or 13, one of those
Hmm.
years, whatever year that began. I remember my wife was an insurance agent, and she sold a policy, or enrolled in a policy. Right? You can't say sell, but she enrolled somebody in a policy, and it was just another day at the office, right? And then 2 months later, the lady comes back and she says, I want to thank you guys because I got diagnosed with cancer. And she had a policy that could was enforced. She had the ability to go to the hospital and the doctors and all that. But the interesting thing was is that she had never had insurance in her whole life. And
Wow.
so for having a policy from no policy 2 months earlier to a policy today and getting diagnosed, and then by the way, a year later, cancer free, which was probably one of the biggest selling points for our company to go out and do more of that, was a
Hmm.
huge deal for us, because it's like
Yeah.
you see the results that we put into the communities that we serve. And that was one of the biggest things I've ever seen in that. Like, it was very eye-opening for me,
Hmm.
especially early on in the insurance journey. So compassion to me sounds great. All right. So I guess today, now being kind of dominating the insurance space, looking to start that in the tax space. As you grow, right? Do you have a core team? That's a very good thought. Now, do you have a core team of people that are helping you do all this?
Yes. So I started, like 20 years ago, but I was, very small. And, I sold my book of business. So fast forward now in 2008, the rules changed in insurance, as they change very frequent. But, I went back to corporate world. I moved to Texas. I started this company in 2014.
Oh wow.
So, for the first 2 years, I outsourced almost everything. I only had one employee. I was doing a lot of consulting, and then after that, I decided many opportunities are coming to my door. I have to build an infrastructure, so I've been building a core team with we have 25 middle management to leadership, and I've have had some people that I was a little upset that they left after 2 or 3 years. But I realized that at first I took it personal, but then I realized, like, well, they don't they don't they don't have the compassion for what we do. It's not their cup of tea. I get it. It's not personal. It's just that's just what happens. And it was I think in hindsight, it was the best thing that could have happened, because it opened up me to find additional people that wanted to join the organization, and that believe what we're doing, and are just hitting the floor running. And then we have great synergy between the leaders. So yes, I do have about
25.
seven.
Oh,
Yeah, seven core.
7. Okay. And
Mhm.
they've been with you since the beginning, or how many of them since you started 2014?
I have one,
There you go.
and the other, let's see, and then I have four that have been with me for almost 4 years, and then I just acquired the last few in the last 12 months.
Good. It's funny is that I think the longer you go out, obviously, the less the smaller the team that you let around you gets. It may sound like it gets bigger, but you get smaller, right? Because you get more tight.
Mhm.
But it's interesting because, when I think about all my career journey of entrepreneurialism, I've only had, or business, I've had a bunch of team members, but I have one person who's been with me 10 years, and the rest is kind of trickled down from there. But I
Mhm.
wasn't ready to build a team until 10 years ago.
Mhm.
That's the way I think about it. I wasn't
Right.
smart enough. I didn't have the characteristics. I just didn't have the talent to do it. Now I feel like everybody I find, I'm like, you want to be part of this team forever? Like that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for life, right? For life.
Hmm.
So it's kind of interesting how that goes. So Veronica, I really wanted to bring you on here because I think it could showcase some of the talents and the things that you've done in this space. It is it's very impressive. No joke. When we first met, I thought, man, this is impressive because not very many people will ever write more than 140 policies, or 20 policies, and not very many people will open a tax business and do more than 500 returns. And for you to
Hmm.
do both in a very short span of time is very impressive, and that shows that you're probably somebody everybody should follow. So how could they get a hold of you? How could they connect with you? How could an agent say they want to get it licensed with you? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so we're always looking to grow, and it's you don't have to have any experience to venture into this industry. So I would say you can reach out to us by going to www.keystonema.com. There is a link, so if you want to become an agent or learn more about the business, and one of our agent success managers will be able to kind of walk you through the licensing course. We have a very successful course that we have available in training and a boot camp for Medicare and just health insurance in general. You can also call us at 866 469 4921. We do have offices in Dallas, Houston, and Pasadena, but we again are servicing and helping agents become business owners nationwide in 48 states.
Wow. Awesome, guys. Well, if you guys are interested in insurance and maybe you're in the tax business, maybe you want to go backwards, right? Get into the insurance business. You want to start working, helping people with their ACA. Maybe you're dealing with the same problem that Veronica dealt with and I've dealt with, which is agents out there that are messing up your tax returns.
Mhm.
This is the place to go. So Veronica, I want to thank you so much for your time today and being gracious enough to give us some of your time. I know you're a busy woman, and yeah, we look forward to having you back next tax season, or maybe even sooner, because I want to hear 7,000 tax returns. Like, oh my gosh, double digit growth, baby. So
Yes. Well,
I'm
it
looking
was a
forward to having you.
pleasure. Thank you
Awesome.
again
Well,
for having us. We appreciate it.
you're welcome. All right, guys. Well, if you like this episode and you want to hear more from Veronica, click on the links below, follow her. We'll also get her Instagram, Facebook, and all those things below. So thank you again, Veronica. Have a great day.
Okay. Goodbye, everyone.